All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music and real issues, and doing so in real time for a few real people out there just like you and just like me. So we have John Mellencamp, gun control, the Kansas City Chiefs, and knee-jerk reactions, and nobody's actually solving any of the problems. All right, just putting it out there. Before I get into the meat and potatoes, here is some musical meat and potatoes. Holy crap, Batman. Um, the best album I've heard this year so far. Blackberry Smoke, Be Right Here. What's Blackberry Smoke, you say? Been around for a long time. Hasn't been on any rock and roll stations. It's rock, by the way. It happens to be rock and roll. It's Southern rock. It's bluesy. It's soulful. There's some country going on as well in this. This is such a great band, and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to share this. Why? Because it should be everywhere. This should be, you tune into a radio station right now, they should be playing some Blackberry Smoke, but they're not. So I made a point of ordering this and getting it right away. It showed up late last night, and I was almost going to do a standalone video about it because, man, is this good. This could be their best album. Again, it's called Be Right Here. Sorry, I dropped the ball. I dropped the CD. Don't use this as a coaster. This is too good to use as a coaster. So yeah, let's move on to John Mellencamp ranting and raving about gun control. All right, now John Mellencamp seems to swing on the left side of things politically, which I don't know. You could go either way. A guy of his wealth and influence. I know he actually supported Michael Bloomberg for president. That was their last effort, their last ditch effort to try to prevent Biden from getting the nomination. That Bloomberg came in with a bunch of money and had a tantrum, but it didn't go anywhere. But John Mellencamp, the guy from the Midwest, is supporting the hyper billionaire for president. So it would have been interesting. You had two billionaires instead of two senile guys like you have now. So, all right, let's get to the headline here. Mellencamp issues a statement to end gun violence in America. Show the carnage. All right, so he wants TV news to just show everything. Show the bullet holes, show the blood all over everything, show the body parts, show whatever that he's saying, show the carnage. He says this, excuse me for stating the obvious truth. I put that in my own quotations. I do so out of love for this country and the pain of learning once again that children have been killed by gun violence. Now, he's talking about this parade, these celebration parades that they have. They had one for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I've seen the video, and it's incredible what happened there. He says, if we as a country want to find the collective will within ourselves to change our gun laws, let's stop playing silly political games. Show the carnage on the news. Now, is this good for kids to see this? I'm serious. I'm not trying to just throw cold water on his suggestion. Yeah, because what are you going to start to do? Tell, hey, Johnny, could you leave the living room while mommy and daddy are watching the news? Because they're going to show the blood and the carnage, and we don't want you to see it. I guess maybe you're going to have to lock your kids in your room and stuff so they don't see you watching the news. Or, like most people, you turn the news off. I know people that don't watch the news and haven't for quite some time. I've decided to plug back in because I want to see the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I want to see every side of an argument before I, join a political tribe, because there are typically three sides to a story. There's your side, there's my side, and then there's the truth. So anyway, I think the gun issue, this one is definitely three sides of the story. He says here, Show the American people, the dead children, and others who have been struck down. Show us what guns and bullets can do to the human body. The news media need to be brave enough to let Americans see what slaughtered children look like. Oh, the news media wasn't even brave enough to show you what a safe and effective product was doing to children and others. 27 years old and, oh, gee, nothing to see here. Well, there's no carnage, right? Unless you do an autopsy, and then you might see some carnage, but no one's going to do that. He says, otherwise, I fear that too many perceive gun violence as an abstract, a story that's repeated nearly every day to numbing effect. He talks about Vietnam here. He says, when I was a teenager, there was a war in Vietnam. In the beginning, no one paid much attention to this problem in a foreign land until the media shouldered the responsibility and showed America how our sons were being slaughtered. Once those images were shown on TV, there was overwhelming demand for that war to be ended. So how do we end guns? Because this is what you would have to do. I think, 330 million people? And I think there are like 2 guns for every person or something like that in the United States. It might be higher, it might be lower. I don't know. But there are a lot of guns out there. Now, again, I am not one of these people that says, hey, give the crazy person a gun. Background check, please. Mental health capability, please. You don't need the AK-47 either. I know, but then you get the arguments from the other side, and they're kind of legitimate. Like if a lunatic shows up with an AK and you've got yourself a little revolver or something, you're going to be toast. And so you have to get into the whole, should we manufacture these guns? Guns coming in from the southern border. There's so many, gun runners. So we're going to have like prohibition, with the moonshine. We're going to have moonshine and guns. I don't know, people. It's really complicated. But the entertainment industry, right? He doesn't mention the world that he's affiliated with. He's part of the entertainment world. And Hollywood movies for generations, right? Video games are nuts now. Video games have people like being incinerated and blood going everywhere. But that's okay. Kids, 14-year-old, I want to shoot as many of them as I can. And then they get upset because they're out of balance. They've got a chemical imbalance somewhere. And so, their parents have guns or they acquire guns somehow. You got parents now being charged in certain cases because their kids get access to these guns, and the parents are just like, yeah, whatever. They don't care. They're not doing their due diligence to protect their kids in the world from guns. And so they have a very cavalier attitude, and that's wrong. So again, I'm an equal opportunity offender. I just don't know how showing the carnage is going to change anyone's mind, because we've been showing the carnage, John Mellencamp. We've been showing the carnage for decades. We've been training kids in carnage. So if you put it on the news, what's that going to do? It might make a few adults feel bad, right? Well, wonder what we can do about this. Do we get rid of all the guns? Do we get rid of some of the guns? Which guns do we get rid of? And how do we prevent illegal guns from showing up? John, like you did everything right. Like I'm Joe Good Citizen, right? I do everything right. I got my permit. I did the firearms training. I took the mental health test. I scored higher than Donald Trump, right? Because he scores the highest. So I actually did better than Trump. Not only am I smart, but I've got great mental health. And so somebody comes out of the woodwork who's a lunatic, who gets one of these things illegally and then starts shooting up the place. Is that my fault? What did I do? I didn't do anything. How do you prevent that? Showing the carnage is only going to show how twisted and sick and sad society has become. That's what it will do. And then people will say, well, we need more laws. And then I'll be the law-abiding citizen, paying my taxes and having the government tell me you can only do so much with this firearm. Whereas the lunatic who gets the gun, who, for whatever reason, we can't stop for, I don't know, because we're just not smart enough, or our intelligence isn't good enough, and we look at social media and we just ignore these psychotic messages. A lot of these people have manifestos and they post stuff, and I'm like, hey, over here, the crazy guy who's threatening to shoot up the school. Like, can we talk about that over here? You know, so Mellencamp, like so many in the entertainment world, just wants to kind of treat a symptom of the problem, and it's not really doing anything to prevent the cause of the problem. It's just the symptom. It's an afterthought, you know? He finishes off by saying, I say this as a father and a human being with deep empathy for the parents whose children have had their lives ended so suddenly and so senselessly. Show America the carnage. I'm not being callous, and I know it will be painful to see, but sad to say, I think it's the only way to shock America out of its stupor. I don't know. Were mass shootings a big thing 100 years ago? Maybe. I wasn't there, and I haven't really read a lot of history on the topic. I'm just wondering what's changed in society, right? A lack of morals, a lack of understanding that you could really hurt somebody if you actually did this, that life is a video game now, whereas before there were no video games. There were no violent lyrics and songs. There were no violent television programming. Sorry, it's the truth. Oh, are you for banning free speech? Are you like, no, I'm just saying. We used to police ourselves because we had a higher standard. We were pointing toward God. We weren't always like in perfect alignment with God, but we were kind of pointing in that direction. Now we just laugh at it. We say, it's not going to make a difference. You know, love your neighbor as yourself. That stuff is corny. It doesn't work. Well, what restraint works then? What has changed? I can tell you, it's all of this. It's these things, okay, are doing a lot of damage. It's the thing that I'm recording on. It's the constant, never-ending flow of entertainment and information, which again, it's like a drug. If you get bored, you need a quicker hit. You need a more crazy hit. By the way, you put the carnage on TV, there are going to be people, I think YouTube doesn't really allow that kind of content, but they're going to have to, right? If they're going to go along with the media, they would have to go lockstep, or some other rogue platform. You just, clip that video and you put it out there, and you're going to have copycats. You're going to have more people doing this, not less. So, John, your idea kind of sucks, brother. It kind of sucks. Honestly, banning the guns, which is a stupid idea, is probably more common sense than showing the carnage in today's world. You show the carnage, you're going to have people who are psychos even more inspired than they were prior to that. All right. So I think I made my point about Mr. Mellencamp. He's a good guy, great singer. Didn't he used to sing like Pink Houses? His voice really is different now, though. These guys, though, go listen. You want a replacement for your bad music or your aging rock stars? Here you go. Blackberry Smoke, be right here. Up to date, well produced, ear candy, great singing, great playing, real rock and roll. It's all right here. You don't have to get like what's left of aging rock stars. You can find new material. Okay, it's out there. It's not easy, but it is out there. My name is Dave. Please, if you can support this channel, Patreon, YouTube memberships, very much needed, as the algorithm, me doing videos like these, and the algorithm, it's like, shoo. it was coming this way, and then all of a sudden it made a left turn, so because I didn't make the left turn with them, I made kind of a center right turn or a common sense kind of argument, and they're all like, nope, sorry, Dave. That's not entertaining. So we're going to go over to fluffy bunnies falling off of tables, crazy dogs, whatever it is that has most of YouTube tuned in each day. I want to thank the few of you who actually watch the videos. And some of you actually tell me about the videos later, which is kind of nice. Some people just talk to me and I say, hey, I just did a video about that. And they'll go, really? I must have missed that. Well, do me a favor, watch the videos and don't forget to subscribe. Do the little drop down thing with the notifications and select all. And who knows, maybe we can fool the algorithm and I'll have more than just like 200 views on a video. Thanks for watching. God bless. Pray for peace. Pray for the end to the gun violence, but pray for it to happen in an organic way, not in we're going to take away everybody's right to protect themselves or make it harder for people to protect themselves, because it's a tricky issue. You can't do one thing without the other. In other words, you have to have common sense regulations without infringing on people's rights. So there you have it.